Growing up, I didn't have a ton of stability in my home life, so as an adult, naturally, I gravitate towards my top tier needs being consistency, security, and safety. It's inevitably a challenge as I've tasked myself to practice the art of non attachment, striking a delicate balance between appreciating the now moment, but being aware that the next wave can come and radically shift the landscape, which is just the nature of life. Anxiety used to be such a frequent visitor for me, but in the past year or so, it was almost completely gone. So it's been curious to see it returning for a bit this past month. I have struggled with it from everything from crippling anxiety and panic attacks to daily bouts that it almost seemed like a regular part of life. But of course, it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm so happy to share with you the things that have really worked for me. The secret is through a commitment of daily practice. Leading the way is definitely moving my body. Sometimes that looks like a hike, others a yoga flow, and whenever I'm plugged into Mama Earth, an immediate calm washes over me. And if yoga isn't your thing, I recommend shaking your body, jumping up and down, or having a one-person dance party for at least 5 minutes next time you're feeling anxious. If you really want to upgrade the experience, do it outside, barefoot in the sun. I think it's so interesting that though our brains are unable to decipher between anxiety and excitement, it's the narrative we apply to the situation that gives it life in one way or the other. So when I revise my own story and tell myself that this sadness or anxiety is not permanent, and that even in every micro moment, I can inject a bit of joy, shift my perspective, or choose to fully immerse in the experience, that my bare feet are completely supported by this earth beneath me, the sensations of breath that trickle down into the depths of my belly, and how all that makes me feel. I've already processed a fair amount, but this is my fruit haul for the week. I've got a ton of green and ripe papaya and 2 varieties of mango. With the green papaya, I'll be turning that into spicy papaya salad. I made some panchan for Jay's tojidak or lunchbox, and with it I'm serving some multigrain mixed grain rice, and the forbidden rice is what gives it that purplish hue. And then my own beet pickled kimchi, 2 types of anchovies with toasted walnuts, and I put in some manuka honey at the very end, so it's like sticky and sweet and salty. Some file fish, which is Jay's current favorite, and then my parents' own harvest of sun-dried radish, and the leftovers will be made for other toshidaks or bibimbap, which is a Korean mixed rice dish. Thich Nhat Hanh has been such a great teacher in my life, and so by kind of accident, I stumbled upon this book, and it was in such alignment. Even though I'm physically allergic to alcohol, it imparts so many lessons about any sort of recovery and any sort of addiction, really. And I cannot recommend this enough, as well as a podcast called The Way Out Is In that I'll link both below. The great irony of beginning the process of recovery is that only in surrender do we begin to grow. It's hard to see how powerlessness and pain could be a blessing, yet it's through the recognition of the problem that we begin to find the solution. While this is the beginning of the path, powerlessness is also a touchstone that you may return to over and over on your spiritual journey. The Zen master Suzuki Roshi said, "In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the experts, there are few. Once you think you know it all, you stop growing and learning. Especially for the addict, this is dangerous. You will find too that as you delve into Buddhism, if you remain open, the levels of insight seem endless." So in another way, you're always a beginner. Every time the mind drifts into meditation, you start again, coming back to the breath, back to the beginning. In the Korean Zen tradition, there's an attitude called "don't know mind" that recognizes that each moment is completely unique, completely unpredictable. Who knows what the next breath, the next sound, the next thought will bring? If I'm an expert, I think I've seen it all, and I lose interest in what's happening right now. Yet if I don't know, I'm always on the edge of my experience, opening to, investigating, welcoming the next miraculous moment. When you approach your life and practice with this attitude, there's a joy, a freshness, and a mystery that reveals itself in the richness of each moment. Of all things, my current hyperfixation food is my granola, my spiced granola in particular. And I'm starting off with fresh cardamom pods that I am tumbling the little seeds out into in my mortar and pestle so that I can grind them fresh. Obviously, you can use whatever you like or have. And this is the base I'm going to start with to add on all the other flavor, all the other spices. To my cardamom, I'm adding in some freshly ground nutmeg, and a heaping teaspoon and a half of Ceylon cinnamon, a heaping half teaspoon of ginger, and then a quarter teaspoon of ground cloves. And obviously I like my spice, so you can scale them back and not make them heaping teaspoons or heaping half teaspoons if you don't like it. To a cup and a half of oats, I'm adding in some nuts, a half a cup of nuts. You can use whatever you like or have. I'm using walnuts, a sprinkle of salt. All of those spices get sprinkled in. Some of my homemade vanilla. And your sweetener of choice, I'm using brown sugar today, a quarter cup of that. And a quarter cup of oil before it goes into the oven at 325 for 15 to 17 minutes. I like to let mine cool completely before breaking it up. And shout out to my baby brother for getting me this spatula like 10 years ago that's still going strong. I recently read about the concept of creating for the sake of creating and not being concerned about how quote unquote good or bad you are at it. And so I've been throwing myself into different mediums of play because that is so crucial for maintaining a healthy and balanced mental health state as well. So here, I've never really done this before, and I'm just throwing myself into it and really just immersing in the process and enjoying it. Pretty proud of myself because I wanted junk food, but instead, pretty last minute, I whipped up this crispy tofu pad thai. I brought leftover pad thai to the beach. I know that cilantro can be a very polarizing herb, but somehow in this world, I found another human being who is maybe even more obsessed with it than I am. So I am stirring in my second round of cilantro that our culantro plants or recao plants downstairs can't even keep up with the demand. So I'm making maybe some tempura fried lobster tacos for Taco Tuesday, but it's Saturday. Our clients gifted us lobster, I think for the 6th time or something in the last 2 months. We are so blessed. And speaking of blessings, there's some mango featured here that we harvested just 2 weeks ago, and some Marcus pumpkin local avocado guac. Very excited.
Baby.
This is actually a brand new bottle of hot sauce that I fermented for several months, and it was full last week, but when I opened it, it exploded all over my hair, the cabinets, the floors, my eyes, my face. Kind of funny now, but yeah, this bottle is actually full. And now this is all that I have left. This variety is one of my favorites, and it's called a Nam Dak Mai. Check out these gorgeous purple beauties. I love the quote, "Let yourself sit beneath an apple tree and listen to the apples falling all around you in heaps, wasting their sweetness. Tell yourself you tasted as many as you could." So instead of mourning a potential or ruminating on what was or being anguished over what is yet to even happen, I taste the sensations gathering gratitude at my feet, rooted in firm ground that have carried me here to now, where I can feel the dirt beneath my toes and the wind cascade over my body, fresh breath filling my lungs and sunlight all around me. So I hope no matter where you are in the world or in your head, that you can find so many moments of calm and peace within.